Hello, everybody. Shane Hopkins, Director of Sales here at Automation Intellect. Thank you for joining. Real quick, we do have a quick chat box over to the side. Enter your questions at the very end. I will get to them. Meanwhile, we're going to jump right into things. So first of all, the biggest thing that we hear from companies, manufacturing companies out there is tremendous interest in improving overall equipment effectiveness. There's true excitement about being able to see granular details into your machines and your production processes and where the biggest areas of improvement are. The biggest challenge that we see, however, is that while there's all this excitement, there tends to be a lot of delays and issues with being able to ultimately get something like this approved. In the worst case scenario, a lot of times it doesn't get approved at all, which resorts to the worst case scenario, which is doing nothing. So the purpose of today's meeting is to really talk through what you need to know and what you need to be aware of and how to prepare yourself to be able to make sure that this is successful, getting a system like this up and running. So some of the topics that we're going to be discussing today is first, understanding what machine monitoring is and also what it isn't. In order to be able to get proper approvals, you really need to make sure that we're not being mistaken for other systems out there, and there really is alignment on what we do and how we fit in your company's digital ecosystem. Secondly, buy-in from your shop floor up to the top floor. We want to make sure that everybody knows from the plant level, the value that we're providing them, that this isn't just Big Brother spying on them and monitoring what they're doing, that there's true value at the plant level, as well as the benefits that are at the corporate level as well. And then thirdly is being able to set goals and be able to put a business case together to make sure that we get buy-in and approval to be able to move forward with this, and then tracking those wins and successes so that we can replicate that across your organization. So those are the topics that we're going to be discussing here, ultimately all rolling up into the general idea of making sure that we get a project like this underway as quickly and efficiently as possible without the risk of doing nothing. So first, understanding machine monitoring. So there's a lot of different softwares out there that do a lot of different things. What we experience a lot is companies that are really excited about what OEE can do. They go up to get approvals and then they hear from somebody, oh, we do that in our ERP system, or oh, we already have an MES system, or we have the sensors already. So there's a lot of confusion and mistakes about what we are and what we do, which is really unfortunate because it delays projects and sometimes cancels projects that didn't need to be canceled. What machine monitoring is our ability to be able to collect data across all the different assets on your line, collecting very granular data to good parts, bad parts, downtime, fault codes, as well as other insights, and be able to pull it up into our system so that you're able to see all the insights from start to finish on your production line, and where there's the biggest bottlenecks, where's the blocked and starved conditions, where the operation or product issues that we're able to make improvements on. One thing that you may not be looking specifically at Automation Intellect when you're looking at a tool, but just to specify what we really find is different about Automation Intellect's approach compared to others in the market is the level of our granularity. So with AI, each asset, we are monitoring up to 100 tags, 100 data points. So if you can imagine across your line, that's adding up to thousands of data points across your line, helping to make sure that you're having the insights that you need to be able to make the best decisions. This data is incredibly valuable to manufacturing companies. But what's great is all those other types of systems I just mentioned before can integrate with us as well to be able to pull and push data back and forth to make sure that data is consistent, as well as being able to consolidate OEE data with, let's say, sensor data, temperature, vibration, pressure, to be able to help to make sure that you're getting a very wide range of insights, as well as workforce management information, which operators are working on which shifts, as well as product information. Really, the more data we're pulling, the more valuable we are. We are not a competitor to these systems. So don't let that stand in the way or delay your process of getting a system like this approved. Secondly, buy-in from shop floor to the top floor. So it's important to realize that at the local level, at the plant level, this is something that is going to be able to help your team be able to do their job better, faster, easier, and more successfully. And that all that data and insights is going to go up to corporate so that they can have a better return on their investment, a bit stronger OEE, and being able to have better visibility across all of their facilities. As many of you on this call probably have seen before, or maybe are doing today, what we tend to see is plant operators are collecting data manually, a lot of times on pieces of paper, uploading it into Excel files, something like this, and then maybe importing that into a business intelligence tool. Very manual, a lot of fat fingering, lots of opportunities for bad data to be flowing through here. So when you're looking at a machine monitoring system, all that data is automatically being captured, typically through the PLCs, to be able to immediately get those accurate insights within our system to be able to view that data. And if there are any assets that don't have PLCs, or if there's certain data that you can't pull directly and automatically from the PLCs, there's a better way of collecting that data manually than through paper on clipboards and spreadsheets, right? So this is, at least for Automation Intellect, what we call our digital whiteboard. And it's the ability for operators to have a streamlined way of being able to enter that additional information, such as maybe we already maybe know what downtime we're getting from the PLCs, but the operator can say, well, that downtime is because we didn't have the material that we needed to run it, right? Be able to tell the rest of the story. So making this data collection much smoother, much easier, and much more accurate really provides significant value at the plant level, but obviously that rolls up to the corporate level as well. So they're able to see between their plants, between their machines, what's working well, where the areas of improvement are, where their areas are that they should be focusing, and being able to really be able to have better visibility across all of their different facilities. Also, with the Automation Intellect, we provide corporate and site level teams unlimited amounts of reports and dashboards so they can view this data the way that they want to see it. Every company is different, every person is different, and so we want to make sure we already have the data that you're able to see it the way that you want to see it. Another thing that we see all the time that is one of the fastest returns on investment that really gets buy-in for a project like this is, you probably all have seen different boards like this showing the hourly production information. Well, what happens as soon as the day is over, the shift's over, this gets erased. A lot of times that data is either hopefully manually put into a spreadsheet, or it's lost forever. So with Automation Intellect, we're providing these real-time screens showing right up on the production floor the information that they want to see, zooming in a little bit. Certain things like being able to see what your shift target is compared to shift actual and how you're trending throughout that shift. This tends to be one of the fastest returns on investment that our customers see, because it naturally adds some gamification into how one shift is doing compared to another. How far behind am I in my shift to make sure that I catch up? And also, if I am behind, what downtime or faults are taking place that are kind of giving me the reason why I might not be where I want to be. Naturally, as the plan is motivated to be able to do more and get more done, that visibility is important for corporate to be able to see, how are my different shifts doing? How are my different machines doing? How are my different plants doing? All in one simple view, as well as the ability to collaborate. So corporate can be asking a certain machine operator what happened with this machine, be able to get quick information directly from their team right within the platform. So the idea here is this is very valuable both at the plant level and corporate level. So what does that mean for getting approvals for a system like this? They both need to be involved in the evaluation process, right? So it starts with getting somebody that can be really a champion at the plant level that says, I want this at my facility. I see the value. I will help to motivate my team to use this system and see that there's value in this for them. This is not something that is being forced on them to do for corporate, right? And vice versa, making sure that corporate knows that this is something that is going to provide them significant value, both from return on investment standpoint, right? That's obvious. If you're improving your OEE, you're getting, you're increasing revenue, you're reducing costs, but also all corporates are always getting reports from their different locations. How accurate are they? With AI and with machine monitoring, they're going to be able to get these reports faster and with accurate data that they can actually trust. And so we need to make sure that we also not only have site level champion or champions, but also have an executive sponsor at the corporate level to make sure that we are aligning the machine monitoring capabilities with your company's overall corporate initiatives, as well as somebody to be able to see if we're doing just a plant or maybe part of a plant at first, being able to see the successes and being able to help replicate that across the rest of the organization. Lastly, it's important to set goals and then track the wins and successes. What's really neat about OEE is it casts a wide net of benefits. Every single customer that we work with sees value differently. Some customers have seen massive returns on investment just by catching micro stops that they weren't privy to before having continuous monitoring. Other companies have seen massive return on investments in the millions just by tracking the labor and being able to understand lunch breaks and other breaks and being able to really increase efficiency through that. Many of our customers that are new, they see the fastest return on investment just by being able to eliminate or at least reduce the amount of manual data collection and being able to have that information automatically in the system, giving them that time back to go out and actually take action on things rather than just collecting and cleaning data was a massive return on investment for most of our customers when they first come on board with us. But it's one thing to set goals, and we work with you guys with that initially because we want to make sure we set up a strong business case to make sure that there's a compelling reason to move forward with this and that we don't see stalls and issues or even cancellations of projects due to the perceived value. Typically, if we're able to help put a business case showing a conservative 10 to 20x return on investment in 6 to 12 months, it's usually a pretty easy business case to get approved when it's such a easily self-funding project. With that said, a lot of the value that we tend to find is after going live. Identifying issues maybe you didn't even know that you had, or maybe you knew that you had them, but you didn't realize that's actually one of the biggest issues that you're having compared to maybe some of the other priorities you thought you should focus on. And so that's where tracking wins comes in as well. So once we set goals with you, we implement the system, then it's important to track how are we doing compared to expectations with those goals. Are we able to reduce downtime as much as we expected? Are we able to increase throughput or being able to reduce manual data entry the way we expected? And as we track those wins, we work with your team to make sure that we replicate that across the rest of the organization and present that to senior leadership. So it really is about making sure that we're setting goals to get the initial project underway, but then tracking those wins and successes to make sure that this doesn't stop at just a few machines or just one facility. So in conclusion, I think obviously we want to make sure that we move quickly throughout the process to make sure that we don't hit delays getting something like this approved. But worst case scenario, we also want to make sure that we don't get stuck with doing nothing and no decisions. So our recommendations is one, making sure you understand what is machine monitoring and what it's not. Make sure you get buy-in from the shop floor to the top floor, as well as setting goals and tracking wins. With that said, again, my name is Shane Hopkins. I'm the Director of Sales here at Automation Intellect. If you do want to set up a follow-up call, would love to speak with you. With that said, I'm going to open this up for any questions from the audience here. So what are some key metrics or KPIs that companies should track to measure the success of their IIoT implementation? That's a really great question. So it really is, value is in the eye of the beholder, right? And so every company is different with what they're looking to track. What we try and do is identify usually about 3 things that you are really trying to accomplish. Now, ideally, we like to start with asking, what are some key corporate initiatives that we might be able to tie this to? Is it improving OEE. Maybe it's something like improving, there's some sustainability goals that we need to align with. Maybe it is something that is, focused on labor efficiency. So if we can tie this to the corporate initiatives, it makes everybody look good, right? If it is geared towards more of your facility and trying to improve production there, a lot of times it's, where are the quick wins first that we can really make sure that we get buy-in. So that could be something like, can we increase the number of good parts compared to bad parts over the first 3 to 6 months? Is it something that we can say we could reduce unplanned downtime? Is it going to be just being able to make more product within a certain period of time, right? So there's some of the simple KPIs that we could be tracking over a short period of time to be able to track the successes. What are the top industries that you work with? So great question. We do primarily focus on discrete manufacturing. And so I would say that our biggest industry is the medical device and pharmaceutical industry. We work with some of the largest companies in the world in that field. That said, I would say our second biggest industry is all sorts of different packaging, co-packing, plastics, containers, even some sort of consumer packaged goods and paper products as well. We're able to really help to be able to drive OEE and make a big impact. It's funny because we tend to work best with companies that both have very big margins, and the more that we can provide visibility, the more significant that can be. But then on the flip side, companies have very tiny margins because every little bit matters, right? And so we really kind of see companies across both ends of the spectrum. I'd say the last thing I'll mention is companies that are running at capacity tend to be really strong candidates for this, where every moment that they're down, they're never getting that back because they're running 24/7, 365. Now, that doesn't mean if you're not running 24/7, 365, you're not going to see value, but that's some of the ones that we've seen just absolutely like light up the scoreboard types return on investment. What about training and support? Great question. So training and support. So one of the biggest things that we've heard in terms of failure of these types of systems is, you go with a vendor, you get them up and running, everybody's excited, and then they walk out the door, never to be seen again, right? And so this is a lot of changes for your team, right? You have a lot of new data that you weren't privy to. You have a new system that you've never used before. And so with Automation Intellect, we actually were founded from people from the manufacturing industry, and they saw that as one of the biggest challenges they've had with vendors, and they did not want to follow that same path. So we have create a system where every single customer gets a customer success coach, as we call them. And this is somebody that has been in manufacturing before, whether it be a plant manager or continuous improvement leader, some sort of managerial or higher position in the manufacturing world that is assigned to your account, and not only to troubleshoot issues or anything like that, but to also dive into the details and be able to help to drive action, or be able to analyze data with you, and being able to help create reports and dashboards that align with your needs and goals. And so at least for the Automation Intellect, after the implementation, we'll usually meet with you on a weekly basis to bi-weekly basis to make sure that we're helping you guys to be successful. It really goes back to setting goals and tracking them. So we make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable for helping you to track those wins and successes. I think that is all the questions that we have at this point. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you very much. And again, Shane Hopkins with Automation Intellect. My email is on the screen here. Feel free to give me an email or a call if you have interest in setting up a formal demonstration. Thank you very much.